Hello and welcome to National Focus. I am SHAAKIRA. In the headlines, Duquesne University to assist Dominica to build resilience in energy sector. Dominica observes Local Government Month, and Didier works to improve Airbnb service in Dominica. Details of the headline stories and more coming up.
Dominica has so much to offer. There's so many tours and there's so many things to do in Dominica. So our role is to market the country, to make persons more aware of the country, to bring people into Dominica through access. And then when they get to Dominica, what we want is that the person has a fantastic experience, and that is where it touches so many of us. And it starts with the immigration officer, the port officer. When you get to the hotel, the receptionist, the person who's doing your room, the bartender, the taxi driver who will take you on a tour, the tour operator, the tour guide who's going to take you all around. You're going to go to a store, you're going to go to the supermarket and buy food, you're going to go to the bank and change money. There are many people who are indirectly involved. So when a hotel is being constructed, you have the construction persons, you have the foremen, you have the truck drivers. The persons who are fixing the roads make a contribution. The persons cleaning the city also make a big contribution because people want to see a clean city. We say that Dominica is beautiful, clean and green, so obviously we have to ensure that that is done. So everybody really plays their part, whether it's in a huge way or in a small way, everybody plays their part to make tourism a success. My name is Robert Tong. I am the Minister for Tourism and Urban Renewal, and tourism is my business.
A delegation from the Duquesne University on Tuesday visited the Prime Minister, Honorable Dr. Roosevelt Skerrit, to discuss energy resilience. A press briefing was held following a meeting with the Honorable Prime Minister. The university has been keeping updates on Dominica's progress post-Hurricane Maria after the Prime Minister made the pronouncement to make Dominica the first climate-resilient country in the world. Honorable Skerrit says members of the delegation were pleased with the progress Dominica has made since the passage of the storm. Climate-resilient homes are being constructed across the island to ensure safe housing for citizens. The university is here to assist Dominica to chart the way forward in building resilience.
Our friends here are here to look at what we have done, because we've shared with them a number of things, the literature of what we have done so far. They have reviewed it independently, and they have said to us that they believe that they can focus on a few areas that they believe that they have tremendous know-how and experience in. Because at the Duquesne University, they are completely self-sufficient where energy is concerned, and I was totally impressed with how they go about cooling their buildings, for example, generating energy, and the management of this, was just amazing. That you have this major plant on campus, and you don't hear it, and they're self-sufficient. So they're able to come into us and to assist us in reviewing our energy policy, because it's an evolving process.
Members of the university will also help Dominica in the area of sustainable development. Honorable Skerrit says this affords local businesses the opportunity to make profits.
They have expertise in sustainable development, and also assisting the private sector, assisting the investors to look at issues of sustainability, look at issues of resilience, look at the issue of climate change, and to better position themselves to see a return on their investments, and not wanting to have these immediate returns, but in 5, 6, 7 years you will see a multiplication of your investments or your return on investments and so forth.
Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit in October 2018 received an honorary doctorate from the Duquesne University. This award was in recognition of his leadership and advocacy on climate change. The Division of Local Government and Community Development under the Ministry of Ecclesiastical, Family and Gender Affairs will observe the 30th year of Local Government Month under the theme, We Build Communities Together. The month's activities were kicked off with a Thanksgiving Mass held on Wednesday, May 1st. Local Government Commissioner Glenroy Toussaint stated that local government remains an integral part of the community's and country's development.
Local government month started in 1989. Prior to 1989, we had what we call local government conference, or 2 weeks of activities, and it was felt that, given the significance of local government in Dominica, there needed to be a month set aside to highlight and showcase the achievement and the activities and the programs of the local authorities in Dominica. And so in 1989, birth was given to Local Government Month. Since that time, of course, this year we are observing our 30th anniversary, and of course that's a milestone, and we felt to start off our 30th anniversary milestone event, we needed to start with service, with thanksgiving, with prayer, and prayer for where we've come from, where we are, and certainly where we are heading as a local government movement in Dominica.
Numerous activities will be held during the month to celebrate Local Government Month. One of the activities will be a consultation focused on building resilience at the community level.
Last year we began a major event, climate resilient consultation, because as we know, the focus in Dominica is to make Dominica the first climate resilient country in the world. And certainly we believe that the local government system itself plays a critical role in that regard, in building resilience at a community level. And so we'll be having on the 15th of May our annual, it's the second annual climate resilient consultation, of course, examining the theme particularly for this consultation, the role of local government in building community resilience. That's basically the central theme for the consultation, and we expect that this consultation to look back what we've done since last year, what are the challenges, what are the means of achieving the desired goal of making communities resilient.
He went on to say that as local government celebrates its milestone of 30 years, long-standing councillors and employees of local government will be awarded for their service.
We believe as a milestone 30th anniversary to recognize persons who have been practitioners, who have been serving on councils for 20 years or more. We are going to recognize those persons for their invaluable contribution towards community and national development. So a number of persons will be recognized on the 15th. Following the consultation, we'll be having what we call an award ceremony to recognize persons. Importantly too, we clearly recognize the immediate past local government commissioner, Mr. Fountain, served 40 years in the government business, and of course a vast majority of that was in local government. And so we need to recognize he has just retired, and so we need to recognize him, and we're going to do that on the 15th of May as part of our award ceremony for Local Government Month.
According to Toussaint, activities aimed at including young persons and students of both primary and secondary schools are also part of the month's calendar.
We believe as well that there has to be a sort of continued structure for local government in terms of sustaining the system itself. And we believe it starts from the young people. And so we will start to engage our young people in debates and in essay competition. For example, one of the plans is to have an essay competition for the primary school on the role of the local government in community resilience, right? That's for the primary schools. That's one of the things, because we believe, to get them engaged in that sort of discussion will sort of propel the sustenance of the local government system in Dominica. Importantly as well, too, we're looking at the secondary school as well, secondary schools. And so we're looking at the question of a debate for the secondary schools in, is local government reform necessary in Dominica? For years we've been talking about reform. We know of the challenges that the council face, but we need to make the councils current.
The Ministry of Environment, Climate Resilience, Disaster Management and Urban Renewal, in collaboration with the University of the West Indies Mona Office for Research and Innovation, is jointly working towards the pilot program for the Caribbean Regional Track Investment Plan for Resilience. A consultation with representatives from Jamaica, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines took place at the Fort Young Hotel Conference Room last week. The Caribbean Regional Track for the Pilot Program for Climate Resilience, PPCR, in the Caribbean is one of 2 regional tracks of the global PPCR. The Caribbean Regional Track has 2 broad objectives: to improve regional processes to acquire, store, analyze, access, and disseminate climate-relevant data, and to pilot and scale up innovative climate-resilient initiatives in the region. The Inter-American Development Bank, as an accredited implementing entity of the Climate Investment Fund, CIF, is supervising the implementation of the U.S. $10.39 million PPCR grant between 2015 and 2020. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Environment, Climate Resilience, Disaster Management and Urban Renewal, Karen Prevost, addressed the delegation.
Over the past 5 years, the Commonwealth of Dominica has been implementing PPCR-supported investments through the Disaster Vulnerability Reduction Project, or the DVRP. And in Dominica's case, the financing provided by the Climate Investment Fund has amounted to US $7 million, a grant of US $7 million. This investment is really entrenched in the spirit of sustainable development, and the main objective of the PPCR financing is to reduce the impacts of climate change through investments in capacity building, data development, and creation of hazard monitoring systems.
Prevost says that she is pleased with the work done by the Ministry of Environment, Climate Resilience, Disaster Management and Urban Renewal to achieve the goal articulated by the Honorable Prime Minister to make Dominica the first climate resilient country in the world.
In the Ministry of Environment, we are very appreciative of the work that is being done under the DVRP as part of the PPCR, and some of that will really assist us in building resilience. For example, there are some activities ongoing, including the development of a national hydrometeorological network, which will lead to establishment of early warning systems, which is very critical for us. I know Mr. Alexander is really looking forward to the completion of that project. Added to that, under the DVRP project, we will also have the construction of a building for the Met Service, and that is going to be very critical in addition to the hydromet network under this project.
She says the ministry is also working collaboratively with the Forestry Division to rehabilitate the forestry nursery in Port Castell. Minister for the Environment and Climate Resilience, Honorable Joseph Isaac, has outlined his plans to plant 1 million trees by 2020 to restore the forest destroyed by Hurricane Maria in September 2017.
We are currently undertaking a number of initiatives, development of nurseries, expanding the propagation of plants in various areas. But if you had traveled to Dominica right after Hurricane Maria, you would have seen that we lost a lot of our forest cover, and our forest really was seriously impacted by the hurricane. So the rehabilitation of the nursery is something that was actually on the cards prior to Hurricane Maria, but for us now it is even more important and very critical. So we are working towards advancing this project and also expanding it on a few other projects, both through government financing and through financing under the UNEP program.
The Permanent Secretary encouraged the participants to share the lessons they have learned to help them chart the way forward and reach the goal of climate resilience in all the Caribbean countries.
As you proceed to discuss advances that are made to date under the PPCR regional track in each of your individual countries, I encourage you to share the lessons that you have learned. I think it's very critical for us. Climate resilience is not just something that Dominica aspires to. I know that climate resilience is something that all of us in each of our countries are aspiring to. We are very encouraged by the pronouncements and the work that is going on in all of the other islands. Antigua, I know is very active and is working with us. You will hear a bit more about some of the work that we're going to do with Antigua under the Enhanced Direct Access Program, which is also going to support some of what we are doing under the PPCR and the DVRP in terms of building resilience.
Chief Executive Officer of the Discover Dominica Authority, Colin Piper, says the DDA is working on getting certification for Dominican homeowners using the Airbnb hosting platform. Airbnb is a global online marketplace and hospitality service accessible via its websites and mobile apps. Members can use the service to arrange or offer lodging, primarily homestays or tourism experiences. On December 3, 2018, DDA signed a Memorandum of Understanding to cooperate on areas of common interest. Speaking of GIS News, Mr. Piper says DDA is looking to ensure that the Dominican hosts deliver the best services when providing lodging for tourists.
So we're looking at how we make sure that through certification we can assist the host to make sure that they provide a above minimum experience. And then we want to continue to use the platforms that Airbnb has to reach their multitude of people, to introduce a destination to them and introduce a different experience from what they may be used to when they come to Dominica. So it's our intention to work with them and to see how, alongside with the other properties in the DHTA, that we can continue to drive Dominica's tourism forward.
He says this is of importance as the organization has noted that a high percentage of visitors enjoy the lodging provided through Airbnb.
We get a sense that a lot of people are coming to Dominica and utilizing Airbnb, obviously because the hotel plans are not where they were before Maria, but also because maybe economically it provides them with additional monies to see an experience. So you'll see people showing up for a dive, or renting a car for a day, or going to, a restaurant or something like that. And when you inquire as to where they're staying, they indicate they're using Airbnb, and so they're using the budget and economy of Airbnb from a accommodation perspective.
The MOU signed with Airbnb is hopeful for boosting Dominica's tourism industry.
To our knowledge, there are about 400 hosts in Dominica who make their homes available to guests via Airbnb. We have signed a MOU between the Discover Dominica Authority and Airbnb to basically work together to work amicably together in trying to increase visitor arrivals to Dominica. So we'll be looking at a number of things where it makes sense. We will begin now to investigate how the Airbnb hosts need to be certified so that we can ensure that they provide a quality experience.
You're watching National Focus. More when we return.
I've worked in the service industry for 9 years, and I love it because of the people I get to meet every day. And that's one of the reasons I went back to college, to be better able to serve the tourists when they come to our destination and to be able to learn more about Dominica. I love learning more about Dominica because the more I learn, the more I can share. And I just want to share Dominica with everyone. I'm from Munjan, which is in the southeast of Dominica, and I have lived overseas for 24 years. Living overseas has made me appreciate Dominica and all it has to offer, like taking a walk in the forest, going to the botanical garden, or even drinking fresh Swiss water. I never thought I could miss green so much. Even as a student, I'm still directly linked to the tourism industry, from something as simple as giving directions to tourists, or even more involved, like an internship at a hotel, or a cleanup campaign with DHTA. As a tourism student, I have made the decision to take my place in this tourism industry. My name is Lucina Nicholas, and tourism is my business.
Craft is a certain art that creates expression, and one of the things that we do as craft persons, we transfer that expression of self, that expression of value into our products. It's like coming from within, coming from everything that I have and feel, and then it comes out perfect. It's been over 18 years since I've been involved in craft, and it's all through experimenting with different materials, different products. I use a lot of vegetable tanned leather, which is the rawhide, to do my craft, and I get the opportunity to decorate it and to bring out my creation and my spirit within the craft. The work is generally handmade, and that is a unique and authentic thing about craft, is that there's your fingerprint, and a lot of people appreciate the fingerprint of the artist. One of the greatest joys is actually seeing a satisfied customer, especially for a unique piece and they're like, yes, that is for me and that is mine. That is really a joy. I am proud to be part and parcel of this big engine that fuels the island and the tourism industry. My name is Vanessa Lisa Winston, and I am happy that tourism is my business.
Thanks for staying with us. Representative of the United Nations Children's Fund for the Eastern Caribbean states, Dr. Alois Kamuragie, says that he was impressed with the level of progress Dominica has made in comparison with other hurricane-struck islands in the Caribbean. He made that statement while speaking at a handing over ceremony of 2 water trucks to Dominica Water and Sewage Company, DUQUENSE, last week. Dr. Kamuragie stated that in the immediate aftermath of Maria, he visited the island to discuss with officials the support of UNICEF and the role that they will play in the recovery of Dominica.
I've been privileged to visit Dominica a few days in the aftermath of the Hurricane Maria, and could myself witness the damage, the rubble, the dust, and I met some of the senior officials, the Prime Minister and a couple of ministers, to discuss what would be UNICEF support.
He noted that upon his second visit to Dominica, he was greatly impressed with the resilience of the country's citizens, specifically when compared to citizens in the other hurricane-ravaged countries.
I was impressed to see the resilience capacity of the people of Dominica. I say that because Dominica was not the only country affected among the 12 countries and territories covered by UNICEF Eastern Caribbean. There are other islands that were affected. Barbuda, British Virgin Islands, Anguilla, Turks and Caicos Island. We had also teams on ground there. But I have to recognize that Dominica, compared to other islands affected, the people of Dominica were the most resilient.
Dr. Kamuragie further added that the strides made by government and the country encouraged UNICEF to remain in Dominica and further their assistance.
And even today, I couldn't even recognize compared to the situation I saw in the aftermath of the hurricane. You guys, the strides you've made in recovering so quickly encouraged the UNICEF to do the maximum, try its best to support your efforts, because you merited that, and you encourage us to stay and support your long-term development agenda.
The Ministry of Agriculture is now better equipped to carry out its function as they received equipment from a French organization, Alliance Sine Caraïbe Residence. The handing over took place on Saturday at the office of the Forestry Division. Among the equipment were 6 sawmills. Director of Forestry, Mitchington Burton, says this donation will go a long way as Dominica is rebuilding post-Maria.
When we woke up, most Dominicans, when they woke up the morning of the 19th of September, when we looked around, one of the main telling sights was the fact that we had lost most of our forests, trees, parce que tout type bois tombé, et puis it was a really bad sight. So for us, one of the key things have been to see if we could actually get our forest restored. One of the main things, of course, one of the problems was that we had a number of trees which had fallen down, and there's still quite a bit of them still there, and we have to be able to see how we can utilize a number of these trees, these fallen trees, before, of course, if they stay within a 2-year period to 3-year period, they will be of no use, economic use.
Burton says this donation will assist the Forestry Division to procure lumber from the fallen trees, which in turn will benefit the country economically.
Our whole intention is to, through this donation and others, is to try to see how we can, as much as possible, make use of most of the trees to produce, as rightly said, planks, posts, rafters, boards, etc., to assist not only to assist local people in the construction industry, small furniture makers, and also a lot of people. There are still a lot of people who are still looking for local lumber for their use, also to rebuild their homes, etc.
He says it is also important that the fallen trees be cleared to enable the reforestation process to run smoothly. The director informed that the division is currently on a reforestation drive.
We currently have a major reforestation campaign on the way also, particularly in areas where you had forests which have been degraded around watershed areas and some of the coastal areas. We want to reforest some of the forests. But there are certain areas in the forest where some of the trees on the ground are hindering some of that progress.
Burton thanked the organization for the donation and says he hopes to continue working with them for the advancement of the Forestry Division. And that's National Focus. Coming up next, your tip of the day. As you know, June 1st is the start of the 2019 hurricane season. It is always good to be prepared. Here are some tips to get you prepared for a storm. Know your risk. Be aware of your surroundings and know if you are vulnerable to flooding and overhanging branches, as well as the physical status of your home. Move if necessary. That's all for this edition of National Focus. Be sure to follow GIS Dominica on Facebook as well as on Twitter at GIS Dominica. From all of us here on the GIS News Production team, I am SHAAKIRA. Thanks for watching.